Alright, y'all. Sometimes you say things on camera when you make these videos that you wished you hadn't, and this is one of them. I'm going to try and mount this scope on camera, and I'll be cutting the camera off several times in order to set up for the next stage. But the first thing you need to do is put your gun in some kind of a rest. In this particular case, this is a Tipton gun vise. I don't have a real big heavy-duty vise. I wished I did, but I really don't have a place to put it. But the first thing you got to do is take these little plugs out that they have here for mounting the scope, and they're not ever in there real tight. You just pull them out. You'll want to save these. And in case you decide you want to sell the gun or something, you take your optics off. But you take these plugs out just to save time, and so that you don't see all this. I'm gonna cut this off. There are 8 of them. There's 4 back here, and there's 4 forward. And I'm gonna take them out, and then we'll put the bottom mounts on the rings. Stay tuned. Alright, y'all. I have taken one of these mounts, and I've put a couple screws in here, a couple of the mounting screws, to hold this thing in place, because the ones in the back, you have to go way down inside in order to get them in there, and I wanted something to hold it in place. I'll take those out. I'm going to put just a little bit of Loctite on the mounting screw, and then I'm going to run it on down in there and hope to God it goes in there. You don't want to cinch these things down as tight as they'll go. It's kind of like putting a tire on a car. You just want to get them down fairly snug. But not completely snug. And you want to rotate them once you get them all in there, and then go back and snug each one of them up. I don't have a lot of Loctite that I'm putting on here, just a little bit. And keeping in mind that I've got to go back and snug them all down real good before this stuff dries. These mounting rings are marked. The one that I'm working on now says F1, says R1M for rear, and then I don't know if you can see that or not. The front one says F1M, okay, and it goes here. Now I'm going to take this one out that I'd put in to hold it in place. Now, you know, there's all kind of gadgets that you can use when you do this job. This is just shade tree gunsmithing. This is the way I do it. It may not be perfect. It might not be according to the book. But we all have our ways of doing things, and this is my way of doing it. It's not really that big a deal, but I had said I'd show it. run into a special son of a bitch. This is live. I got a little piece of paper down here with a little bit of this Loctite on there. It'll be much easier for you when you go to do it, or should you have to do it. This is more or less just a freak show. And I'm going to get this last one in, and we're going to start on the alright y'all, I'm back. Now this one says F1M, so that's for the front. I'm going to try and get a screw in there to hold it in place. Oh yeah. It pays to have steady hands when you do this, all joking aside, and that's something I wasn't blessed with. Alright, I got all that done, and what I'm doing now is I am going to just cinch these down real good and firm. You don't want this thing moving at all, ever, until you get ready to take it off. Okay, got a good mount there. They're not going to move, they're not going to go anywhere. Now we mount the scope. You want to get the eye relief correct, prim and proper. I'm going to do that off camera. Eye relief meaning this has a 3 to 5 inch eye relief between the back of the scope and your eye, where you get a good clear picture without any clouding. And then we'll put the top on. Okay, I've got the scope set up in there. I've got the proper amount of eye relief. I have good, nice, clear picture. I have set a level, this small level, because you want your crosshairs to be level this way. Okay, that is level. And there's special gadgets that you can buy that hook onto the barrel of your scope, but I can't see buying a gadget that I'm only going to use once or twice. I'm not doing this for a living, so now we'll start putting in these screws. Again, this is all pretty elementary stuff, and there's all kind of ways. Different people do it different ways. This is the way I do it. The main thing is when you're tightening these things, tighten them like you would putting a tire on a car. So this nice, firm, level. I'll tell you what, you guys with steady hands, don't know how lucky you are. You don't want to cross thread any of these now. You start feeling some resistance. Back up and start back in there. I don't want to make these videos too long. These, by the way, right here don't need Loctite. I guess you could put them on there, but if you wanted to and you knew it's knew you weren't going to take it off again, but you don't really need that. One of the things that you want to make sure when you mount a scope is that you have a right amount of clearance for your bolt in the open position. And this particular bolt has like a 60 or 65 degree can on it, so there's not going to be a problem when I open the bolt up. I'm going to cinch that down and start with the front one. There's no sense in showing that on camera, I don't think. Just eat up time. Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the front one on. Now what I'm going to do is go back and alternating. I'm going to tighten these things down real good. You want a good firm mount. You don't want that thing shifting at all. And you can check the amount of gap on both sides in between the ring to make sure that they're even. The next step, now that we've got it mounted, will be to borescope it. And I'm going to try and do that in this film by getting the camera set up where it's taking a picture down the tube. I'm hoping that I can do that and you can see what that borescope's about. The borescope that I have sticks in the end of the barrel. I'm not real fond of it, but it's what I got, and that's what you got to deal with. It's a Boresighting, and hopefully I'll be able to let you see what happens when you start borescoping it. Borescoping is not going to get you dead center. It's going to get you on paper, and that's going to save you a box of shells right there. I guarantee you. I could tell you a story. I just did one for a guy, and I could tell you a story about that little fiasco. But I don't want to bore you with all the trouble. But it's now mounted, and let's go borescope it.